ever seen this part, you're watching the replay, so go ahead and comment replay down below so I know you were here. Hopefully our audio is working well. Occasionally in the shop it gets a little funny because we've got fans going. I'm going to pull up the video on my phone so I can see comments. Because sometimes my laptop likes to not show them to me. So as you guys are hopping on, just let me know you're here. I know we had some confusion. Oops. Let's approve all those people to join. Sorry, guys. There was confusion over the time situation. We are Arizona time, and I say Arizona time specifically because we are mountain time part of the year and we are Pacific part of the rest of the year. And I can never remember which one is which. I've lived here my entire life, so daylight savings time is an unknown thing in my book. So I always say Arizona time. So if you ever are trying to figure out what time I'm going live, the easiest way is to literally Google current Arizona time or current time in Arizona, and it should pull that up for you. All right, I'm seeing comments. We are good to go. All right, so I went through and I did save everybody who had, and if anybody can just tell me audio is good, I did save all of my posts that have questions on them. I'm going to get to those. A lot of the questions I think we'll end up answering through what all we're talking about today. So I'm going to do that part, and then we'll go back to make sure I didn't miss any questions. I think probably the section that I've had the most questions around, the most like I need more information on this, is probably our DIY ornament bar. That was something we added last year. Our whole studio, which currently is hosting kids camp, so you'll see projects behind me. Our whole shop has really morphed into more of a DIY space than a retail space, but at Christmas time I will be selling some finished ornaments, and I'll talk about that too. So last year around Christmas time we started offering DIY ornaments, and initially when I was pulling up all these different files, and they're so cute, I love all the little pieces, but neither Jonathan or I really like to pull all those tiny pieces off of the laser beds. I said there's got to be a fix for this, and so what we ended up coming up with is pop-out ornaments. So I'm going to kind of show you guys how we set those up, talk a little bit more about that, and then we'll go from there. So yeah, let me grab one of my pop-out kits. Got one of these. So last year, I'd say probably 90% of my pop-out ornament kits the designs came from Chris Howard with the Sawdust Makery. In the description of this video, I have a master Canva link that has a bunch of links inside of it. Rather than putting 50 billion links into a video that are hard to find, I've created a master Canva link that has all of our things in it. And if we come up with anything else, I've got Jonathan standing by to write down what else I need to link. But in there, I've got links to her files for this. But I took some Chris Howard files, several of them, I'll show you some of them, and I made these are 5 by 5 squares that we did. We made them into pop-out ornaments. So instead of having to pick out all these little pieces off the ornament, off the laser bed, the word ornament is clearly in the forefront of my brain. Off the laser bed, I pick up this one piece, and the only thing that's really left behind are the insides of the circles and that sort of stuff. And we did she's got a couple of collections of ornaments that are perfect for this that I did several of. I've got the bird. Who else have I got up here? For Unto Us a Child is Born. There's a whole bunch of them. And like I said, what we did was we created pop-out ornaments out of these so that these pieces stay in place. And then we actually normally tell people go ahead and paint them while they're on here because it's going to keep your paint from seeping down the side, which is awesome. And if you've got little ones that are painting, it's great because they're not trying to hold those teeny tiny pieces. And then when they're ready and they're done painting them, you just apply a little pressure like the old school pop-out craft kits or the pop-out building kits, and you pop them out and you piece it all together and glue it on there, and it holds together great. Yes, Chris's files are fantastic. I love them. So yeah, we made all of these into pop-out kits, and like I said, most of them we started with a 5 by 5 square. I will say one little teeny tiny tip is to use a rounded corner if at all possible. The square ones tend to tear shrink wrap, which is how we wrapped ours, which is like this here. We use a shrink wrap machine to wrap them, and what we put inside of there, this was before I started doing two-sided printing. That made it way easier. One side I have a sample picture of what the ornament should look like, which has been a game changer as a whole with our kits, telling people this is what you're making, versus just having a bunch of wood pieces bundled together and hoping they figure it out. And the back side, rather than trying to type all of the instructions on paint, pop, glue, add your string, all that sort of stuff, I actually made a page. I have a Shopify website. I made a page on there that had all of my instructions written out on it, and I believe there's even a video linked in there as well. I haven't looked at it. It's been a year. I believe there's a video linked on how I put the string through my ornaments, and I'm going to show you guys how we do that too. That is all on that page. So what they do is they just scan this QR code and it takes them straight to that, which is helpful. I don't have teeny tiny print on here, and it takes them right where they need to go. I am going to change these just a little bit this year. We'll have a photo for the front part, but rather than trying to do the double-sided printing, I have a thermal printer. I'm planning on printing the QR codes, and then it'll just be a sticker that goes right on there. Really easy. No double-sided printing. I don't have the nice printer that flips it on its own. I have to manually do it. So rather than doing that, I'm going to use the thermal printer to take care of that part. So yeah, they get all shrink wrapped in here. I've had a lot of questions about the shrink wrap machine we use, and that's for kits in general. It is on an Amazon Prime deal today. I believe it ends up being like $50 or $60 off of what it usually is. And like for real, because I really did pay that much for it. I double checked. So if you go to that master link that I have on here for the video, you will find the link to that as well. I want to talk about pop outs. I was going to show you some of the other ones. So like I said, a lot of ours, we did this 5x5 rounded edge circle, but I loved, do I have any? I do. I really like Chris's truck sets. Like I said, most of ours were Chris files last year, and they will be this year too. I really like the truck set she had though, but again, this one's got some small pieces in there, and rather than having a big thing that I have to sort through or Jonathan has to sort through or losing them in our laser bed, especially if you're using a bigger laser like a Thunder or an Eon, any of their brand, they have the bigger honeycomb versus a Glowforge, these little pieces get lost. So we did the same thing. We set them up, like this one, it's got all my pieces. We set them up as a pop out. So if you have this file, you'll know that there are little pieces that go to the truck. So there's like my light, this is also an old wood that was giving us a lot of trouble, so don't mind the charring. My light pieces, my license plate, this little piece is what like goes on the back part of the truck bed to hold the piece in there. And then these are all of the little add-on pieces that I kind of sort of created a shape around the outside of it, that have all the little details, the bells, their nose, the lettering and all that sort of stuff. And the same thing, when I'm ready to assemble this, I can pop all my pieces out. And then of course I would pop all these individual pieces out too to assemble the whole thing. So pop out kits don't have to be able to fit in a square. They can kind of fit however you need them to. For this one, once we made them into a pop out, I did an offset around the whole thing that I wanted to hold together. That again still has like those curved edges. So I'm not having any sharp points. Let me see which other one. Here's another one of them that we did pop out style. This one's from last year, and I may have lost this little piece, but that's okay. But same idea. We've got a truck. Ooh, my laptop's doing weird stuff. We've got a truck, and this is the the little kit version of it, and of course our finished truck that is adorable. One of the things that's cool is that this is going to save you time. Because I can wrap 50, or Jonathan rather, I make him wrap most of the kits. Jonathan can wrap a gazillion kits in the amount of time it would take for me to paint them, and especially if DIY is somewhere you're wanting to focus on. This allows you to paint something maybe 1 or 2 times if you're smart and record yourself doing it live on, or not live, or record yourself painting them and then use that as a marketing tool. That's awesome too. Your customers will love that and see how easy they are to paint. And then all you have to do is cut them and send them to them to go paint. So that's awesome. Let me see. I've got a couple questions about that part, and then we'll go in from here. Converting things to pop out. So you need to change curve for the pop out. I do not. So I actually, and this is the only thing, I promise you, the entire talk today is the only thing that I have that's really going to be separate from this that I'm not going to go full on sharing. Our SVG club members this month got a set of pop out ornaments and a training on how to do that. So let me kind of talk about that for just a sec. So this month, so you want to organize ornament versus these pieces for me. Our club members got a set of files. This is 3 of them, and I know I'm missing a couple of them, that are set up already for pop outs. We did a like a Christmas baking themed for our files this month, and actually these are all the ones that are mixed from the tiered tray. Cool. But so we did that. So originally the ornaments that I had laid out for them were all meant to look like, I'm missing a cookie. Oh, there it is, the snowman one. The pop-out ornaments I originally did for them are all meant to look like Christmas cookies. So you've got kind of that tan background, and then your topper piece is like the royal icing style. So those are the ones that I originally did for them, and then I did a tiered tray set. And the tiered tray set is all cooking utensil type stuff, like a, whisk and a, sorry, wrong one, whisk, a spatula and a rolling pin, cooking pieces. and some other little mini signs that were really cute. But I know that for different parts, sorry, this one goes this way. Different parts of the country, some of our members have mentioned that tiered tray pieces are not really popular where they are anymore. We're just starting to get popularity for them again. I don't know what's going on. We're weird out here. But what I did, and part of the training, was showing them how to take those tiered tray pieces and turn them into pop-out ornaments. So that training is in our Laser SVG Club, and that's the only place it's available right now. Eventually I will put it out as its own training, but currently that's where it lives. So if that's something that you absolutely are like, I need to know this information, the only way to get it right now is going to be in the club. Shameless plug, it is $20 a month. You're going to get all of these files that I just showed you, plus some other Christmas ones. If you want to go check it out, it's linked in that master link as well. But what we did was we took all the tiered tray pieces and turned them into ornaments. So can you hear? I was going to show this side by side. Sorry, Jonathan's trying to organize the pieces as I'm talking about them. So like instead of the tiered tray tag piece, we made a little ornament version of it. And these are all set up as pop-outs as well. But I did do a training in there showing them how to turn them into a pop-out. I use Silhouette Studio, but the process is really similar regardless of what software you use. So this was the comparison for these two. This was, where did Baking Spirits Bright go? I just had it. How did I lose it? Oh, it's in this stack. Goodness. I've got a lot of pieces on the table. Anything that was ornament related, I started pulling out. So this was like the Baking Spirits Bright turned into an ornament. The mixer becomes an ornament. And there they are. And my little gingerbread guy becomes an ornament. And I think this would make for such a fun afternoon at Christmas time, doing some baking, that sort of thing. And then while you're waiting for stuff to finish baking, you know, tell the family, hey, we're going to paint ornaments too. So, and then these are kind of what they look like as pop-outs. So yeah, that part is the actual training on that is inside of there. And because it's something that's part of the club, I don't have that out as their own. But let me just check through the questions on there. Yeah, here, remember, so if you go to the laser training sections of the website, actually I can show you guys real quick what that kind of looks like, and then we'll get back into all the other things. I don't want all these tips, Facebook. I just want my thing. Actually, I don't know if it's going to let me share my screen while I'm doing this, so never mind. But if you are one of our club members, go into the laser trainings part of the website and you'll be able to see it there. Will you explain how to do a pop-out? It has nothing to do with power. It is 100% in the file itself. It has to do with creating breaks in the file so that it intentionally doesn't cut in some spots so that it holds its place. But it has nothing to do with power. It's not a different setting based on what material you're using. Somebody had asked me, do you have to use 1/8 inch for a pop-out? Nope, all of mine are 1/4 inch. But I have done them with 1/8 inch too. How do you make a pop-out? I talked about that. I knew that question was going to come up. Do you have to change cut lines? Sort of. It's editing the file, but it's really easy, I promise. Do you sand the pop-out piece before you shrink wrap them? I do not. I use MDF for my ornaments and find I have a lot of charring. I don't. The material we have that we normally use doesn't have a lot of charring. Some of those that we have left over, we had some material issues last year, and some of that stems from, that's why those ones never got wrapped and put into kits, because they had those issues, but it was material problems. Let me see. How do you decide how many paints per ornament? Okay. All right. So that's pop-outs. Pop-outs made the world work. You do not have to have a pop-out ornament in order to have an ornament bar. It just made my life really, really easy and allowed for us. I mean, how many ornaments a day do you think we were restocking back up? He doesn't even know. But we'd come in and somebody would come and grab 10 of them for their whole family to do together, or as gifts or whatever, grandkid gifts, that sort of thing. So it was a very a constant sort of thing, and being able to just pull them off the laser bed really fast like that and get them wrapped saved us time from sorting all the little pieces. Is Silhouette free software? It is not. In order to export an SVG, you'll need the business edition. And can you add that business edition? Just put SBE software, and I'll know what that means. I'm having Jonathan write down extra links to add, but I'll add that link into the master link list. Yeah. But the upside with Silhouette, once you buy the business edition, it's a one-time purchase, not a monthly subscription. And I want to say you can usually get it on sale on swingdesign.com for like $58. I bought it, oh gosh, in like 2017, 2018, and I never had to pay for it again, which is fantastic. It has made its money back for me, no problem. and they are all half off today. Oh, sorry, not Robin. I've got Robin on the brain, so I was talking to her earlier. Are Chris's files on sale right now? That's awesome. So, all right, we're gonna, Silhouette downloads are on sale. Awesome. But yeah, Swing Design usually has them on a discount too. So that's pop-out files. What did I want to transition to? So on our actual ornament bar, and I was trying really hard to be able to show you guys my screen, but Facebook doesn't seem to want to let me do that. It doesn't give me the screen share option. They've changed the way lives look. But I'll share a picture in a little bit. But the way we kind of set the whole thing up is we had the cello bags that we like to use to wrap our ornaments in, which we'll talk about in a minute. We had these ready to go. We had paintbrushes, paint, glue. I think what else do we have out there that's ready for them? Beads, and we'll talk about some wood beads in just a second here. We had wood beads, we had ribbon pieces cut, and paint, glue, string, beads, ribbon. I think that's everything. Brushes, that sort of stuff, all laid out for them. And what we had was just I had some wood crates, and some of them we just kind of leaned up into boxes, but we had these stacked by design, and people could go pick one of these, and then they could pick the rest of their stuff to go with it. When we do paints, we buy strips of paint pods. I'll kind of show you what those guys look like. We buy strips of paint pods, and then we trim them down into singles, just for easy picking. And so we get these paint pods on Amazon. I have those linked in the link list as well. And for the most part, we would let people pick up to 6 colors. Very rarely did anybody actually pick 6 colors, but we did 6 because that's how many come in a strip. So when we figured out our pricing, that was just the easiest way to do it, was whatever a strip's worth of pods and paint, all that sort of stuff. We do 1 brush with them. If you're painting at home, you've got plenty of time to rinse your brush out. So we do 1 brush, and the brushes we used are linked in the links as well. This tray comes from Hobby Lobby, and we have several of them that we fill with all of our paint colors. And then these are just the little pods. We trim them apart so they're just in singlets that people can grab, and then we have, so that they're easy for us to remember and our customers, we have these little wooden paintbrushes we painted. Eventually I'll put magnets on these to stick on here, but they're still clipped on there. It's on my to-do list. The file for these little brushes that you can put your paint names and all that sort of stuff on are in the freelaserlibrary.com. It's also in the link list. So that one's available for you too. But yeah, we would let them pick their colors in here, and that's what this little bag was handy for. This bag, we pre-put their string, their brush. I feel like I'm missing something. String, brush. Maybe that was all that was in the bag to start. It was a spring and brush. They could pick their paints to stick into it. This is a 4x6 bag. I think I'm going to go up to, no, this is a 5x7. This is a 5x7. I think for this year, I'm going to go up to a bigger bag so that their ornament can fit in there too. I was using what we had on hand. Like I said, this was kind of like a, hey, I have this idea sort of thing, and it worked really well. And we were in the heat of the season at that point, so changing methods was not on my to-do list. But I'll get a slightly bigger bag this year so their ornament can slide in there easily as well. So it's all-encompassing little package. And then I saw the question about how we did glue. So last year, we actually put our glue right into paint pods like this. We have little tiny stickers, and all of this is in the link part 2. We have little tiny stickers that we just printed on the printer that said glue on them, and we stuck that on the top, and we would just tell them, make sure you grab a glue as well. And then in our instructions, it says to use, when you're done painting, use your brush to dip it into the glue and wipe it on. We use wood glue for ours, Titebond Original, I believe. Yes, Original. Titebond Original into our little pods. This year we did switch to these, which, like I promised, on the link list. These are eyedroppers, and you could probably do, gosh, I don't even know, at least 5 ornaments.
Well,
easily. 5 ornaments with one of these little guys. They work out to about 10 cents a piece when you're buying them in bulk, though, so I don't stress too much about not using a ton of them. But if I had somebody who was buying a bunch of ornaments that they wanted to paint, I feel pretty comfortable saying, oh yeah, one of these will do 5 ornaments if you've got plenty. And so we'll regulate that as much as we can. But if somebody is, sending them to a bunch of different people and they need a separate glue for each person, I'm not going to tell them no. They do make these. This is a 15 milliliter or 10. Do you remember? You have no idea. I believe it's a 15 milliliter. I know they make smaller ones, but I'm probably not going to buy separate ones because I'm already using these for the rest of our kits. But these are just little paint droppers. We put our glue into them, and they work great too. No, we haven't gotten to that part yet. Let me see. I know I'm missing questions here. What do you charge for pop-out ornaments with all the accessories? Were they 12? We did 12 last year, and I know some people will say that doesn't seem like very much money. We do them really, really fast. And I gotta think, is my calculator linked anywhere? I don't know if my pricing calculator is linked anywhere, but I will find somewhere for it to exist. Put that on there. Pricing calculator. Jonathan's adding it. It'll be on the link list when we're done with this live. But I have a pricing calculator that I go in and I put in, this is how much a sheet of wood costs me. This is how many of whatever it is I'm cutting I can get. This is how much a glue packet is. This is how much the packaging is, the printing for the instruction sheet, my hourly rate to pay me to do what I have to do, all the things is on there. And when it came down to the bottom, I think Ornaments ran like $2 and change when they're done as a DIY kit, where I don't have the time that I'm spending painting them, stringing them, doing all the extra steps. So when you're looking at $2 and change for a $12 price point when it's all said and done, and I mean the $2 included everything, I'd say it's a pretty good profit margin. So, and especially because people would come in and buy several of them at a time for, you know, the whole family or for gifts. So 12 was our price point. But the biggest thing I will tell you, no matter what you're doing for pricing, is to put in your materials. What somebody else charges may not be the same as what you can charge, or maybe you can even charge at a better price point based on what you're using material-wise. Let's see. The size of the breaking line, in my video where I talk about it, I genuinely don't know. It's a silhouette preset, so I'm not 100% sure on that one. Amy talked about how she didn't make every ornament piece a pop out, but she made the smaller pieces that way. Somebody said they used Lightburn. Lightburn has a tab option in it as well. I'm not as familiar with it, but I'm working on it. Do you use a large shrink wrap machine for the small kits as well? Yep, we use the same one for everything, and I promised somebody earlier that we will, when we're wrapping up ornaments here pretty soon, I will do a video, but we use the same machine for everything. There's no sense in buying extras. That was the answer about the glue. Thank you, Angie. What do we charge? What do we sell them for? How do you trim your pods without sharp edges? This one I can trim down a little bit more. We just take a pair of scissors, and I literally sit there with like a bowl or something to put them into, and when it's a long strip, I trim as close as I can to this edge, so there's a little bit more to take off there, and then I trim as close as I can to the next edge. It's not a perfect system, but it works. It works really well. And then like I said, I use that little bowl to collect all the little teeny tiny pieces. I'm gonna offer DIY kits at my local booth, but I'm not sure about paint since I'm not the one controlling things at the register. I worry about paint getting dried out. And of course, you don't have to use all this stuff. I'm just making sure you guys know how we set them up. You could just easily say this is a like a wood project type thing. Add your favorite paint. And, you know, a suggestion for glue or something like that, maybe in your instructions, but otherwise you don't have to do paint. But as far as drying out, I wouldn't be too concerned with it. We live in the driest part of the country, and we've had paint pods that are good. I need to check them again, but they were from, we had used them for pop-out kits from 2022, and in 2023 they were still good. I haven't checked them yet this year, but they're in a box somewhere, and I will see if they can still make it 2 years. Some of your paints, depending on what you're using, might have to stir them up a little bit, but that's not too bad. Thank you, Janine. So the metal things are on Hobby Lobby. You can get glue in there easily. The little droppers, I don't know. We haven't had a problem with them. We do use you want to show me a medium bottle? We use the Type Bond that has the pop-up cap. Jonathan's gonna grab me one to pour into them. I say, of course, all of these already have the little stoppers in there, but there is like a decent sized hole, and if you pour kind of like at an angle like this, you can fill them, so it's not too bad, right? I make Jonathan do it. He had to do a bunch of them yesterday. Are you gonna go get one? No. Oh, Jonathan's got something to share, guys.
So when you are filling the little bottles, sorry, if you go too fast filling it, it will create an air pocket, and it won't let anything go in there. If that's the problem you're having with it. We just get like actually it's right here.
I'll be right back.
This straight dental pick.
A weeding tool.
Or a weeding tool or a toothpick or whatever to stick down it. It'll pop that air bubble in this, and it'll open it back up. That's just
He did just request I come up with some sort of like holder file to be able to put a bunch of these in side by side and go right across filling it, so that'll probably come out at some point. And if I make that one, it'll end up in the free laser library just because it's kind of an off-the-wall one. Can you use MDF instead of birch? You absolutely can. It'll do the same thing. Can I link where I get my laser wood? I can't. And that's because we get it from a semi-local lumber yard. It's about 3 hours from us, and we're so fortunate to have them deliver right to our front door. I have used something that's very similar, though, is Home Depot. Which one was it that we got when we drove to El Centro? We had a weird phase where we went through a bunch of different wood, and thankfully one of our really nice friends, followers, members, I don't know what else to call her, that lives in Arizona had told us, hey, try this one from them, because they were our previous supplier, and then we had wood issues, and it was a mess. So I don't order it online, so I don't have a link for it. How many paints do you have with each ornament? We allow up to 6. Very few people take 6. It's usually like 3 to 4. How do you put glue in the, or paint in the, glue in the pods or paint in the pods? Either way, the pods are still, open one of these guys. They usually are open like this, and you just squirt it in. It's nothing fancy. Do you provide an instruction sheet to the customer? We have a QR code that has the instructions on it. We have this, it's a page on our website. We have Shopify that I created to have all my instructions on there so that I don't have to print a full instruction sheet. Angie said she has her paint pods dry out really quickly, but you're in like humid country, so I don't know how that works. Angie's in Florida. How do you put paint in pods? Just like that, we have squirt bottles. We pour them right into the pods. You could definitely use double-sided tape or like a 3M tape. We had used those for kits, but we make so many of them, and it because of the way we cut it, especially with our pop-outs, I wouldn't need 3M on the back of this base piece, and it'd just be messy for the way we do them. But you could easily decide, well, then I'm just going to nest these pieces together that need to be the 3D part, and then make that part separate. You could go that route with it. We just chose not to. That's so weird, Angie. Maybe the dry helps. That's weird. Carrie says thank you because she was getting a bubble. But yeah, pour it slow and then go down there. What masking do you recommend? I don't mask anything ever in the history of ever. They freak me out. I'm afraid stuff's going to catch on fire. We do use an air compressor. Oh, you were asking if she did. Yes. Air compressor is awesome. Make sure you click the front and the back of the pod. Yes. Get the pod all the way closed. Oh, sanding it after you. No, we don't really have much of a, like, let me find one that's a pop out. All of these are pop outs. You're asking about sanding down the tab after you pop it out. I don't know how close I can get, if this will even pick it up. But if you see that like tan line that's right there, that is the tab from one of our pop outs. And there's nothing really there to sand off. I mean, you could, but there's really nothing there, so I don't worry about it. And we, like I said, we sold so many of these last year, I couldn't even tell you that, yeah. Okay, let me think. What else do I have? Ornament bar. So string, or having all the stuff for it, ribbon. Yeah, if you want something that I'm gonna do better on this year, because I was not perfect on it last year, is pre-cutting ribbon pieces. They're little teeny tiny pieces of ribbon, and if you just have them kind of like in a little bin that somebody can pick one for their ornament, that makes life really easy. Is there anything else DIY wise? Like I said, most of the supplies we use, all of the supplies we use are linked in our master link thing. There's a whole section that is just DIY kit packaging, and that's what we use for those. I think that's all that I have on DIY kits, or the ornament bar specifically. Paint, all the things. Let me look at my tab. I wish I could show you guys this picture. I guess, no, we're not going to do that. I will link this picture somewhere, but basically what we did is we laid out all of our painted ones. There is a video that's linked in the link list that has like a physical tour of our ornament bar. I don't have it set up yet. My customers already thought I was a nut job taking Christmas pictures a couple weeks ago, so I haven't put that out there yet, but very soon. But we laid out as many of them finished as we could, and then had the kits to match them right behind it. It had that eye-catching look. Yes, there's pictures on there, but there's something about seeing the real thing. So if at all possible, try to keep samples of each one so that you can show them what they look like, and they just, I don't know, just shows it off nice. Okay, let's come back over here. Do you leave your ornament bar unattended? I guess technically it's in our store, so it's not, I'm not in like a painted tree or anything like that. It's in our store. So sort of, I don't know how to answer that one exactly. How do I pick paint colors for like when I paint something, or when, like what we put in our bar? We use all the same paint colors we use in our DIY studio in our paint bar. And I actually have, if you go to createwithgwen.com, there's actually a training on there. I've got to remember where exactly it's at on there. I'll make it more easy to find. I actually have an entire training on picking paint colors for a DIY studio, as well as our paint color list. I actually put that on the link list too. Paint selection training. Oh, for the pods, we use the exact same. Oh, we allow them to pick up to 6 colors to paint their project. And so when I paint my samples, I try to stick to that same rule, no more than 6 colors, because it makes it easy. If somebody's like, I want that exact one right there, that's what they're going to get. They're going to get exactly, or they can easily get that exact look with the colors we allot for. Popular trends for ornaments this year. I feel like there hasn't been a lot of change in it. I'm still seeing lots of snowmen, baking type themes. I haven't seen anything that really stuck out as very different. I hate to say it this way necessarily, but I really feel like it's mostly traditional Christmas that I've seen so far. But it's early. It's early. Okay, so let's talk about ornament packaging, finishings. I know there were questions on that again too. Grab some of my stuff that's floating around here. So this for our finished ornaments. Now I do not package our ornament kits. As I say, if you guys have more kit questions, feel free to ask them. I'm going to talk about packaging next though, for finished ornaments. So these could be ones you paint. These could be ones that you take orders on and offer to sell, however you want to do that. But this is how we package up our ornaments, and we have for the last several years, at least some variation of this for the last several years, and it's worked great. So we use a cello bag on the outside of it. Our ornament is finished in there. It's got like some ribbons, some bead. I really like the finished look. I know some people like very simple. We've got our insert here, and then on the back of our insert it has our shop's information. The first year that we started wrapping ornaments like this, instead of just saying, well, here's your ornament, take it, we started off with cardstock. I bought a pack of Christmas cardstock from Michael's, I believe it was Michael's, it might have been Hobby Lobby, and I trimmed a little bit smaller than this, probably, I don't know, about that size, and did kind of the same thing. And then we went to stamping our logo on the back. We got a logo with, or a stamp with our information on it, and we wrapped them that way. And it was kind of fun because then you had, because you know those cardstock packs always come in coordinated colors. All of our wrapping, like, it had variation in it, but it was coordinated, so that looked really cool for ornaments. But we did 2 years ago now, we switched to getting these postcards printed, and I love them so much. I don't have to cut a bunch of papers. I don't have to go, dang it, I cut this one too short or anything like that. So our inserts, it is a 5x7 postcard. We get them printed from Vistaprint. I designed them in Canva, and I do have a template available for you guys. The template is linked in the master link above. But it is and there's several of them in there. It's a Canva template, pretty easy to add your own personalization to if you want to. The only thing I will say is if you don't have Canva Pro, there may be some elements on these that are not part of the free Canva. I don't know which ones are which. I've had Pro for as many years as I can remember because I'm on Canva at least once or twice a day, if not more. So there might be some elements you need to switch out, but Canva has tons of free elements. I just don't know which ones are which when I design anything. But let me see, I saw it suggested, where did we go? To put a QR code in the back to link to business sites. I saw it suggested in LaserCon and to put a QR code in the back. Yeah, that's what we, like, oh, on the back of these. I say I don't have that set up on there, but I do for our instruction sheets, and those work great. But this is a 5x7 postcard printed by Vistaprint, designed in Canva. You can upload your whole design. This exact one we actually used last year. It has special instructions on it. We partnered with our local hospice, our nonprofit hospice here in town, and did, every year they do angel ornaments. And so we we did their angel ornaments. And so this has instructions. It was, it's from Recycled Farmhouse. It's an angel that has a spot to put fabric in there. So you'd put like a loved one's, like an old shirt or a blanket or something through part of the ornament. And so this is instructions on how to do that. But usually the back of ours, and it also has our local hospice logo. But usually the back of ours just has our shop name on here and then our address and our web address. So it's easy to find. But yeah, so that's how we kind of wrap them up. But I'll show you the actual how we do that right now. So with the postcards, when they come in, and I like the 5x7 size. If you do oversized ornaments, you can order these bigger. The 4x6 just seemed too small for me, so 5x7 was kind of my sweet spot. But what we do when we get these in, it takes a little while, so this is a great job for someone who's like, how can I help you? And it's something simple you can have them do. We put a little snip in the top of these in 2 different spots so that the ornament can set up in the top. We take our ornament. Do I have one that's strung? Yeah. We're just going to cheat and steal this one for a second. And I'll talk about stringing this too in just a sec too. We take our ornament strings, shove it to those 2 little slits. When we first started, I would use like a repositional adhesive dot on the back of these to hold them in place. 1 year, out of necessity, we didn't, because we ran out of them during Christmas wrapping time, when I had somebody who was like, what can I help you with? And I said, wrap these ornaments. We ran out of dots, and so we stopped using them, and we haven't needed them, and they work just fine. Then you take your cello bag. Normally you don't have to open it. This is one that I've already used. But usually there's a little clear tab that you can pull off here to expose the stickiness. I like to put them in top down because you don't get caught on the string trying to put it in. Pull this guy open. I would say don't pull the sticky part off until after you get it in there. It's way easier. We're just making this thing work for today, because I need to order more of these anyway. But you shimmy your ornament down into there, which is 100 times easier when it's not sticky. Slide it down into there, and then you take the excess little flap underneath and tuck it up along the back side. And then your little ornament is wrapped. So yeah, these are super easy. Let's see. Could you share the info you share on the back of the one with the fabric? Yeah. So this one in particular has the hospice. What she's asking was if I could share what we type on the back for the angel ornament. Will you grab me one of them? Some of them are the angel ornaments we did for hospice. They're in that clear bucket right there on the table. But it's got our Hospice of Yuma logo, not ours, but the Hospice of Yuma logo. It says swap out the white fabric, because we had like a holding fabric in them to start off with. I don't have it in my sample right now. Swap out the white fabric with a piece of your loved one's favorite shirt to take comfort in always having a piece of them near during the holidays. Cut a piece of fabric approximately 5 inches by 10 inches. Insert the fabric into the slot in the ornament. You may accordion fold the fabric lengthwise to assist in pulling it through the slot, and then adjust as needed. Slip the heart loop. There's another piece that goes to it. The heart loop back over the fabric and adjust. Use a fine point Sharpie to add a name to the heart if you desire. And so what it was is this ornament, and there's a piece of this I'm missing. There's a little heart that comes with it too that has 2 holes in the top of it. I'll have to put link. Hey, can you put link Angel Memorial Ornament? I'll link this one in the master file when we're done. But there's a little heart piece that goes on this that goes around like the skirt of the dress to make it like an angel dress. And so this is the little ornament that came in here, and this just looked too empty to me, so that's why we went ahead and put white fabric in all of them to hold the heart in place, to already have it be an angel. And some people don't have the fabric, so it's still an angel ornament, still a memorial piece that they could add a name to, but then they could swap that fabric out if they wanted to. So that's what was inside of there. Oh, that's cool. Christy said that the backer cards were a really good help for her, and one thing she did was when she ordered them, she designed, I'm assuming you put that into the design, she put 2 little lines up here at the top part to tell her exactly where to cut them, so they were always centered and always ready to go. I love the perfectionist step, because I'm the same way. Yep, a QR code instead of all this information that would take you right to where you need to go. A great idea with the fabric. I wanted to do those, but wasn't sure people would understand. Yeah, no, we got just a huge, like, plain simple white fabric from Hobby Lobby or whatever by the yard, like the most inexpensive one, just to put it in there. It made it very clear what it was, and then it was able to hold that heart and stuff in place. So yeah, just plain white fabric, because then even if they don't have something left over from that person, it's still easy to have, you know, it's still an angel, it's still a memorial piece. So yeah, this is not the memorial one, obviously. Let's see. So we talked about how we put them in the packaging. Let's talk about actually putting beads and strings and all the things on there. Oh, okay, we're jumping back to DIY for just a second. I promise we'll get away from that. This wasn't part of our ornament bar, but this was something DIY we did last year. Put elf ornament free file. I designed this little very simple ornament file, and it actually might be in, no, it's not in the library yet. But we called it an Elfie ornament, and what it was is one of our local parks does a, they call it Christmas on the Colorado. We're right on the Colorado River, like literally the river is like a 5-minute walk from my store. But they do this big Christmas on the Colorado event every year, where people can wander through, and the idea is you buy the ticket to it for your kid, and then there's a cheaper priced adult ticket, and once you're in there, there's like nothing else you can buy because everything is included with your ticket, and it's so much fun. But one of the things they do is ornament making. Well, last year I approached them and said like, hey, is there any way we could help with that? The theme was elves. And I said, we'd love to be involved in some way, whether it's helping run the actual ornament spot or something like that. And they had said, well, we would need 200 elf ornaments, elf themed of some sort. Is that something you'd help with? And I said, yes. So we cut these really simple elf ornaments. This has I have Levi's just taped on here, so I can show you. It's got a little hole in it right there for the parents to, add a photo to once they're done. So we didn't string them or anything. We literally, this is what they got, was the piece of wood by itself. And then these were here for the kids to color and draw on. There's some score lines that helped them decipher where to paint, but otherwise the kids got to paint them. They could take them home and add their photos to it. And it was really fun and a cool way we could donate something. But even if you're not looking for something to donate to somewhere, these are really cool. I bet the schools would enjoy them. So just a fun little something that we put together. And what I'll do is I'll put that file in the free Laser library so you guys have access to this one if you want to use it, because it's very simple. It's very cute. Okay, we'll go back to wrapping things. So let me find these. All right, so we got a piece of string, got a piece of ribbon. I have a bead somewhere in this mess. Can you help me find the bead? Guys, I wish you could see my, Alrighty, so this is a simple ornament. Yay, I'm glad there's lots of ideas here. A very simple ornament, and I will talk, let's talk about this part real quick. How does the photo go inside? It just gets taped or glued to the back. It's really simple. This was what I had on hand, so Levi's is just painter's taped on there, but glue would probably be a better long-term solution for it. Or if you really wanted to get fancy, these needed to be on a very shoestring budget. Now that I think about it, we didn't donate them. I charged them for materials and that was it, but they had a very shoestring budget to work on. You could cut a second one of these to glue onto the back so that it had something holding the photo completely in place. But even if you just put some glue dots around, like dots of glue to stick the photo to, it would hold too. That one's not super fancy. It's very simple. We'll come back to that part. Okay. Wrapping and putting your finishing pieces on your ornament. So this is a very thin jute. I don't have a full roll of it at the moment. I need to go stock up on all the ornament things. But I get this particular jute from Dollar Tree. It is in the utility section, not the craft section, and it comes in a 3-pack of rolls. I don't remember exactly the length, but for $1.25 and 3 rolls of it, we will take an entire roll of it, wrap it around a piece of cardboard, and cut all of it at once. And then it goes into a little basket where I have tons of these little pieces. I will say, do it somewhere and over clothes that you don't mind having weird little fibers on, or that you can take off shortly thereafter, because it is fibery when you're first cutting a ton. But I take mine, I double it over like this, and then I tie a loop. That's the first thing I do. That is another task that I can hand off to somebody else for several hours at a time and say, here, you want to tie a bunch of loops for me? And most people say yes until they start working on it and they don't like it as much. I've also done it on long car rides. But so there's get that where you can kind of see it, my long loop piece there. And when I'm ready to put it on an ornament, this is how I teach people who are doing workshops with us too. When I'm ready to put it on an ornament, the first thing I do is pinch this and add my bead. My bead in right there. So my bead is underneath my string, or it's like underneath my loop, I should say. I take my doubled over piece right here and put it through my ornament hole. And it doesn't have to be one that has a top tab. Even if you have one that just has the single hole, it works the same way. So I've got my ornament hanging in here. This hole I'm going to open up. This is a lark's head knot, in case you do macrame. It goes up over the loop like that, and then I start to sink it down. But before I finish this part, this is when I add my ribbon. So I've just got a little piece of ribbon. This is a teacher ornament. So I've got this little piece of like school themed ribbon. I think this came from Hobby Lobby. But I'm going to, in the opening that's right here, I have a video link that shows this a lot easier too. Or a lot better, I guess, because it's flat. I've got my hole right there. I'm going to put my ribbon right inside here. And then I'm going to pull this part tight. It's going to create my little bow. No tying, special bow knots or anything like that. And then I just slide my bead right down on top of it. Something that's kind of cool with this particular ornament one that I set up that I just want to mention, if you're talking about personalized ornaments, this one has the like teach, inspire, most loved, all that sort of stuff, but I don't have a name on here yet. I cut several of these at a time, and then when everybody's freaking out, you know, the week before Christmas break starts and going, oh, I need a gift, I need a personalized gift, we have these set and ready to go, wrapped the whole 9 yards. All I have to do is cut a 3D name and stick it on there, and then it's ready to roll. So that's another little something something. So much easier than what you've been doing. Yes, Angie, let's simplify this thing, especially if it's something you can pass to, you know, a teenage son who's needing to find some work to do. Struggle with the length of jute decor. You know what? It's a piece of cardboard we use. Can you tell me roughly how long this is? The length has a lot to do too with the thickness. So if you're usually using a thicker jute, it has to be longer to account for the amount of space like a knot takes up. But this thin stuff is very forgiving. Jonathan's gonna measure out my jute real quick though. So yeah, there's this that piece. He's checking for me real quick.
Between 11 and 12 inches.
Somewhere between 11 and 12 inches. It's not exact, but yeah, somewhere in between there. So about a foot of jute, which sounds like a ton. But when you're buying the Dollar Tree one, it's not that bad. But so that's one option. Something else I do have linked that we used for some of our ornaments last year that are just a little bit more on the fancy side is this suede cord. I get it from Amazon. It is linked in the master link. It just gives you kind of like a more, you know, like sophisticated fancy look. I don't know. Jute is big around here. We do a lot of people still do the farmhouse Christmas thing, but that's another option too that you can do the same thing with, and it's the same process. Tie the knot. Jonathan doesn't like tying these knots because this stuff does rip. So if you have someone who's very strong tying your knots, just tell them to be gentle. Melissa says she cuts hers about 10 inches. So yeah, just somewhere in between there. It really just depends on personal preference. I think that's wrapping. Putting them in I think that kind of covers the wrapping side of it. If you guys have questions beyond that about packaging, go ahead and ask away. I know some people get hung up on what size ribbon to use. We use a bunch of different sizes, so that doesn't have to be exact. Probably the one I use the most would be I think it's like 1 5/8 or something like that. Or is that 1 inch, you think? That's the 1 inch ribbon. We use this size sometimes, which is a little bit. There we go. There's the 1 5/8 ribbon. But it's the same thing. It just creates a different look and depends on how pronounced you want your ribbon to be. So that's going to obviously give you a kind of bigger bow on there. So there's different things you can do with that. But we've also used thinner ribbon like this for different things. I liked this thinner ribbon on this design in particular because I felt like it stayed up out of the way of the names. Speaking of names, we'll talk about personalized ornaments and that sort of thing. So if you guys have more packaging questions, feel free to ask them. But one of the other questions we get is there was something in here about trends and stuff like that. I haven't seen anything super stand-outy in terms of themes this year, but if you are looking for things that have always been good sellers for us or what are our top sellers usually for ornaments, let's talk about those. Let me see, Jillian just said something. Card charm package, like the ornaments of the suede. Oh, and the cut lines that hold it in place, it's severed. Had a card charm package like the ornaments with the suede string and the cut lines that hold it. Oh, this top piece right here, it like cut the suede. I haven't had that yet, but I'm sure that probably could happen. So yes, be careful. Everything I recommend, test at your own will. Oh yes, beads. That was part of that's on my list. So let's talk about that, and then we'll talk about popular ornaments. We'll talk about some supply options. So yeah, string I like from Dollar Tree. In the utility section. The suede I get on Amazon. Beads, I don't have a box of them right now, but because I tore them all apart. But beads are like my little secret trick for my little painted beads, like this one, the one that is on the teach ornament that I literally just had in my hand, this red one here. They came from Walmart. They're not in the crafting section. When Walmart starts putting their Christmas decorations out, they have, I believe they're either 6 or 9 foot. I don't remember at the moment. I know the picture will be in my memories any day now. But they're 6 or 9 foot beaded garlands that are like $7.98, whatever their price point is, like $8 for the box. And they're all painted beads. And the cool thing is they usually have some that will have neutral colors, like almost like a stained brown or even a like raw brown, which is cool. Those are nice to either paint yourself or use raw just like that. But they always have ones that are in the current trending colors for Christmas decor. So I get those, I cut those things apart, and I separate the beads out. That saves me a ton of time because I don't have to paint them. On our DIY bar, we put those beads in bowls. I have a really cute picture. I wish I could show you guys. I'll have to post it in the group in just a little bit and refresh it. But we put those beads into cute little bowls and spread them out on there, and people can pick the color they want to work with, and they don't have to worry about getting all the paint all over their hands. They save me a ton of time. I don't have to worry about painting them. They're already in Christmassy colors, and they're really, really, really cheap. Yeah, Amber says look for any long strands. Hobby Lobby has some in their fall section too. Amazon sells pre-painted beads as well. I like, these are probably the 1/2 inch, I believe. Yeah, here's a 1/2 inch bead. Like a 1/2 inch wood bead. But those ones are perfect. They have a good size hole that's easy to string the jute through. I love them. So that is my bead hack, and that's probably the only place I will get beads anymore. So if that ever goes out of style and Walmart doesn't sell those, I will be back to the drawing boards. Do I use wired ribbon? Sometimes. This one is not wired. This one is wired. This one is not wired. So kind of give you some different looks there. It just really depends. I don't feel, because it's such a small piece of ribbon, I don't worry too much about it having to be wired ribbon to stand up nicely. So I don't worry too much about that. Let me see. It's 20 millimeter for the raw beads. I think that sounds right. That sounds about right. Wood. I knew the question was in there somewhere, and I'm going to answer it now while we're talking about materials. I really like, so this is not something I painted white. This is the wood that I'm going to talk about right now. You probably wouldn't use much for DIY kits, but this is not a piece I painted white. It came white. This is one or the other kind of eucalyptus board from Home Depot, but I will tell you there are 2 different kinds, and I grabbed pieces to show you the difference between the 2. And I have them linked in the master list, and I have a note next to each one saying this is the smooth one, this is the not smooth one. So on the back, it's probably gonna be hard to see on this camera, but we're gonna try. This one here has a textured back. This one has a really flat, smooth back, but both of them have a white front to them. Both engrave really nice and dark when you engrave on them. This one has just the lettering engraved, the truck, sorry, wrong way. This one has the lettering engraved, the truck part is all 3D, and then this one is just engraved at the moment. They both have a perk. So the one that doesn't have the smooth back comes in a bigger sheet and is cheaper, like per square inch. But you can't really use it to layer or anything because it has that textury back. And so if you're gluing it, it's and then some people don't care for the textured back. I've never had a customer have an issue with it, but speaking with other makers, some people said they don't like the textury back. But this one is cheaper per square inch. This one with the smooth back, you're getting a smaller piece. You're paying a little bit more for it, but it's really nice for layering. And adding stuff to. This just happened to be what I had when I made this one, but usually if I'm cutting a base for something, I'll use the textured back kind. But we used the heck out of the smooth back one for these. These ornaments that I felt like we were a tree factory for a while last Christmas that come from Cuttle. And we'll talk about that in just a second when we are talking about personalized stuff. But yeah, material-wise, 2 different ones. I have them both linked in the master list along with which one is which. I will say this though, the unfortunate part is some Home Depots don't carry them, or they'll carry one and not the other. Knock on wood, for the most part, our Home Depot has carried both, and it's very nice. But again, I unfortunately don't have power over that. I'm trying to make sure I don't lose questions as we're going through it. Bought several boxes of those last year, and also loved Hobby Lobby when they're 40% off. Yeah, any place that you can get, like, honestly, if you can grab beaded garlands and cut those apart for your stuff, they're well worth it, especially if you can get them on sale. Debbie said the postcard is 5x7 and the cello bag is 5x7. Does a postcard fit? Okay, yes, 100%. I see that one all the time. And yes, this is a 5x7 post. Granted, this one's been sitting on a shelf for a year now. This was, I think the person just never came to get it. This was one that somebody won and they just never showed up to pick it up. But yeah, this is, so it's got a little bend in it because it's been sitting on a shelf for a year. But this is a 5x7 postcard inside the 5x7 bag. The 5x7 bag is a hair bigger than 5x7. And even with an added, 2 layers of wood here, I think we've got one that's a 1/4 inch and one, no, those are both both 1/8 inch. But we've done 2-layer 1/4 inch too. This one actually has 3 layers of 1/4 inch in it. And it's still very much in the bag and good to go. This bag's been through some stuff because it's an old bag too. So don't worry about that. I personally don't care for it. The master list is linked in the description of this video. I just figured it would be the easiest way to put all the links in one place and I can add to it without Facebook getting mad for me having 5,000 links in a post. I've gotten the bigger bags before, and I don't like the excess space it allows for. Like it makes it look kind of floppy and messy, so I definitely like the more tight look. And everybody's saying grab a beater tool. You can do something like that, or even some thin floral wire. We've used that too, so that's helpful as well. Mine doesn't carry the smooth back one. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Do you think the name trees would be hot again this year? I do. Are you linking the bags? The bags are linked in the master list as well. And I did see some of them are on sale earlier. Amazon was being weird about grabbing links. When I would try to like copy the link to something, it would say an error occurred. I'm sure it's because Prime days are crazy, but they were on sale when I looked earlier. Okay, name trees. We're gonna talk about those for a second, and personalized stuff. So that is one thing that is, regardless of what the trend is, regardless of what the theme of the Christmas whatever is, anything personalized. And one of the big ones for us last year was these name trees. Grab these ones are both from last year, so they say 2023 on them. But these name tree ornaments. This template comes from Cuttle, and I wanted to screen share to show you guys what it looked like. I do have them linked in the master list, but these name trees, Cuttle makes us a breeze. What we did was we set it up on our Shopify site, and like I said, I'll have to figure out some way to share all this because I really wanted to do a screen share. But we set it up on our Shopify site where people would go in. There's a personalized box where they could type in the names they need and then what year they needed. And we literally copy and paste, drop it in the Cuttle template, and then Cuttle lines these guys up to make this cool tree shape. We put in the description of the listing, though, that the names will go in whatever order they look best to make a tree shape. And we only had one person who had any kind of feelings about that, and after I explained it to him, she felt a lot better. But yeah, these were super great for us last year. We made a ton of them. We do ours with the 2-layer option where it's got a backer. I know it's hard to see. No, I've got one right here. So you've got a backer layer here that has like green painted on it, and then we did white for the front. The white is just the smooth backed this. Well, I guess this one's the smooth back. The smooth back this stuff, so I didn't even have to paint the white part, and we didn't offer options with it. It was white, green, red ribbon. Very simple, and that meant we could crank a lot of them out. But so we did the smooth back white for the top of it. This I did use 3M on. I use 3M for stuff we make pretty often, not pretty often, but often enough. And then for customer stuff, I normally don't. This stuff that has the textured back, it comes in a brown option as well. The white has kind of like a sealer on it, so it's not easy to paint on, so I wouldn't recommend this as a background you plan to paint. But they do offer it in more of just a plain brown MDF, and that's what our green backers are on this, is that, and then we spray painted a whole sheet at a time. I know it's hard to see in the bag, but we spray painted an entire sheet of it green at a time, cut a ton of backers, and then cut the top layer out of the white, and then MDF stick them down, and it was wonderful. Cuttle makes it super, super easy. Cuttle has several ornament templates that are great for personalized stuff, so I'm gonna introduce, I'll have these on our website as well, but I'm gonna introduce a new one this year. I think I'm gonna do, they have a monogram one that adds a last name and there's little snowflakes and stuff around it. I think I'm gonna add that one as an option, just to give my customers who bought one of those last year something new they can get this year. But yeah, they're fantastic. Is someone gonna learn how to do that on Shopify? I'll work on that. I will work on some how to add personalization box type stuff on Shopify. I personally use a third-party app for it. It is called Infinite Options. It is a paid app, but I use it for a ton of stuff on our Shopify, and it makes my life easier, so I justify the cost for that. Personalized ornament. Sorry, coming back to that again. But if you are someone who's looking for lots and lots of semi-personalized that would sell without having to do like individual stuff or things to take to markets, this would be awesome to take like one sample of this to a market or a couple of them that you can set out and say like, hey, I can take orders on this or place an order on our website sort of thing. But sometimes you want stuff that people can grab and go right then. That doesn't mean you're out of the personalization game. One that continues to be a popular seller for us every single year, and this is one that got a little messed up and funky, so that's why it's not all finished out. But anything that has our city's name on it is always a huge hit. So these originally, when I bought this file, or the file that's available to buy that's similar to this one, has zip codes, and we did zip codes one year, and then the following year I didn't feel like trying to remember every zip code because our town has like 7 for close by, but we have 4-ish main cities, and so instead I switched it to our city name We have home down in this corner, our state shape, and then it says Merry Christmas. So this allowed for us to make a bunch of them without being too specific. Now I can offer them to other people too, and I do take orders on these for other city names. But this allowed for me to have something that is personal, it's local specific, but not so personal that I couldn't just take it to a market or put it out on our shelves and sell them and still have something personal. So anything with city names, can you hand me that one over there, the landmark? Something else that's been huge for us are landmark ornaments. So much so that I couldn't find any that I have prepped and ready except for this one to show you guys. This is, again, on that same whiteboard. I'll get it up close here so you can kind of see. We have, like most cities, we have some interesting landmarks. This is our territorial prison guard tower. The territorial prison is a huge thing here in town. Our first high school was, went to school inside the prison cells where there were first classrooms. My husband graduated from that high school long after they were at the prison, though, I will say that. Many years after that. But so it's a huge thing in our town. It's like the go-to thing. It's a big part of our history here. A big part of our town's existence has to do with the prison, which is not something to brag about, but whatever. But anyway, so this is a drawing of one of our local landmarks. We have this one. I have one of our water tower that they do up every year in Christmas lights. And then one of our other big landmarks is it's called the Ocean to Ocean Bridge. And if you're one of the people who are coming to see me in September at our in-person meetup, which still has seats in it, shameless plug. If you're coming, I'm going to take you to go see it because I want you just to see like the two things together because it's mind-blowing. But anyway, the Ocean to Ocean Bridge is just down the street from us, and it is literally a bridge that goes over the Colorado River. And when you get to the other side of it, essentially you're in California, and it's just a thing. It's a big thing here, and it's important to our town. And so we had these art pieces done for them. A lady who I keep meaning to ask her if she's still doing pictures. It's been a little while since I've had any done. But she will take your photo and turn it into, and I know there's a lot of people who do them too in different groups. She will take your photo and turn it into an SVG, and that's what we had her do, was design these into SVGs for us. And so we cut ornaments like these, and people love them. We happen to be in our downtown area, but even when we were having to go to events and stuff like that to sell them, people loved anything from the landmark that was, close by, something that was connected to their home and that sort of thing. We had people who would tell us, oh, we got married on the Ocean Bridge, or we had our wedding at the prison. Yes, that's a thing here. Or whatever. And we have our Christmas, our big like town lighting. We don't light up a big old Christmas tree. That's not our exciting thing. We light up our water tower with lights that look like a Christmas tree. So those are all really big things that people are connected to in our community. And so having something that was personal to our area, and maybe it's not a landmark, maybe it's a theme or something, but something that's personal to your area, people love them. Landmarks are not copyright. They're not. They are public places. They exist. Now, if your landmark is something like Disneyland, that's a little different. But literally a bridge that's in your community water tower, things like that, they don't fall under a copyright or a trademark. And you can take that one to the bank because I know that one for a fact. But yeah, things like, now if your landmark is Six Flags, Disneyland, Legoland, something like that, that's different. It's not a landmark. That's a theme park, and that's not going to fly. But public places like a bridge or a water tower, those are different. I've been asked a bunch of times to do the water tower for the next town over, but I haven't done it yet because I like ours. So personalized without being personalized are awesome. The trees are awesome. What I was sharing earlier about something like this, if you have, like a community who's going to need things for teachers or anything that you would just add a name to, or bosses themed. I'm trying to think of different stuff. Who else? I mean, even a hairstylist, anything like that. If you could pre-create most of the ornament and all you need to do is add a name here. This could even be for like a dance group or whatever. If maybe your daughter's involved in local dance and gymnastics and, the group wants to do something with that. But anything you can do that's really kind of set up this way that you can just add a 3D name to. Pre-prepping these is awesome. Pet ones are another one like this. If you can do like a paw print and have it easy to add a name. Cuttle has a paw print template too, but this one you could prep literally all the way except for adding the name and have it ready to roll. So that would be another cool thing to do with these. And I feel like there was something else personalized I wanted to talk about. Oh, letters. Letters are personalized, and those are easy. So if you wanted to do a letter set of something, like turn letters into ornaments without any actual names, people still like something that has either local or semi-personalized or whatever, that sort of stuff. People love that kind of thing. Oh, I will say this. So this is more talking about the themes of your area. this of course is an actual landmark, like a specific place. This is more of a theme. Here, out off-roading is a huge thing in the winter. We have the sand dunes that everybody and their brother packs up and goes out to. So off-roading, whether it's on a side-by-side or something like a Jeep or quads, all that sort of stuff is huge. So these ones in particular, this says, oh, what fun it is to ride. I believe these are from Recycled Farmhouse as well, are huge for us. And so we do these. I offer these now as a DIY option because I got tired of painting the little tiny pieces. So now it's somebody else's problem. But we offer these one year. And again, they were something we couldn't keep enough of because entire groups that would go out to ride together were all about that. So maybe in your area, kayaking is a big thing, or skiing, or whatever it might be. See if you can find an ornament that kind of deals with that theme, and if you can even put your city and state name on there or your area, something like that, to really make it personal, even better. I'm looking at my notes real quick to see if I missed anything. Personalized, local. Let me double check the master list and see if there's anything else I had on here that was outside of the, okay, we talked about wood, string, paint pod trays, beads, postcards, Cuttle, Canva, ornament bags, heat shrink machines, which are on sale, Amazon affiliate with kit supplies, Chris Howard files, because those are the best for ornaments, that stuff. What are the size of your ornaments? It depends a little bit. It does vary a little bit. I'm not super set on a size. As you can see, my sizes are a little bit different. This one I believe this one's probably a 4.5, and part of the reason I made that one that size is because this has some small pieces in it, like really small and fine. So having it be a little bit bigger allowed for some more space, but this one is probably more standard of the size we use for most things. Yeah, pretty close. So like these two are probably closer to like a 4-inch ornament. And then this one's probably closer to a 3-inch, 3.5. You know, I'd say 3.5 on this one. Probably 3.5 on this one. Let me see. And then we started sizing most of ours to fit on this 5-inch square. So that one's probably, I'd still say about 3.5 inches is what we made our base, and then made everything else fit around it. Let me come back up here real quick. Yes, Angie mentioned one of Chris Howard's new files, and she's Sawdust Makery. I have her Etsy shop linked in the master list. She has some new files that have the QR code to track Santa, which I'm sure the kids are gonna love. I think there's a reindeer one. I think there's a Santa Claus one. There might even be a snowman one, but it'll take them to that Nordic Santa tracker come closer to Christmas time, and that's so much fun. We watch them usually. Let me see. Size of ornament holes for the Jeep to go through. No, totally not a dumb question. Ask all the questions. With Chris's files, I didn't resize them. They were good where they were, and so I didn't mess with them. But when I usually design them, I do 0.16 with 0.16. I'm almost positive on that one. 0.16 for my ornament hole. You can make them bigger or smaller. Smaller is going to make it a little tricky. 0.16 I found is kind of comfortable. That's the same that I use for our door hangers to put jute through, and I use thicker for that and tie knots. But yeah, 0.16 has been good for me. Let's see. Would the Jeep look alike? So, that one. I will not advertise them as Jeep. I call them 4x4 or off-road ornaments. And the biggest thing with the Jeep, and I know this is like really super specific, the biggest thing with the Jeep is the amount of lines that are in the front of the Jeep logo. I don't remember how many it is. Is it 4, 5? Jonathan has no idea. We have 2 Jeeps in our front yard. He doesn't know. Well, one's in the backyard, one's in the front yard. Yay. Love that. You can't tell I want them to disappear, can you? Anyway, they are very specific on the amount of lines that are in it. And I know that the ornament has the wrong amount of lines. And then you put a wreath over the top of it. So your Jeep extremists who would be like, that's the wrong amount of lines, are probably not going to be able to see it because of the wreath that's on the top of it. And it's not the perfect, I think there's something about the side view mirrors that are not perfect to a Jeep. So that one, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a legal advice. I don't do trademarky stuff, so that's as close as I will get to a real Jeep. 7 lines. Yeah, I knew my Jeep people would know. I know all of you drive a Jeep, don't you? So it's 7. So I think this one has can't see up underneath there, but I think this one has 5. Yeah, I can't see in there, but I'm pretty sure this one has 5. And visible, you can only see 3 of them. So that's as close as I will get to that one. 7 Wonders of the World. See, I knew the Jeep people would know. I knew, and I do. I have one diehard Jeep lady who had got a bunch of those for their whole group, and she had mentioned something about it, and I had to explain it to her, and she's like, okay, that makes sense. She's like, that's why it's not okay. But she still loves me, so it's okay. Let me see. 7 Wonders of the World. Where do you find the list of creators that I like? I don't have a master list for that, but I probably should work on one. Jeep is taking yours down twice on Etsy. Is it that design or a different one? Because I don't put Jeep or anything like that. I also don't sell on Etsy anymore. Physical product, I have just files on there. But I don't use Jeep to tag anything. I do 4x4 and off-road. I don't use their name on anything. Oh, I think I went too far back. Somebody asked, okay, what all is in, somebody asked what was in the club. We want to grab that door hanger out of it's on the top, in the closet on the top. So I will talk about our club briefly. I don't want to take too much time for this, but you guys can read about it. The new one, the cookie one. So club files, every single month our Laser SVG club gets a minimum of 5 new files, and there's almost always a door hanger, some sort of shelf sitter, some sort of a kid's kit, and then the other 2 are kind of mixed up of all sorts of different things. What it is the first Friday of the month, they get the files and raw photos that you can use for marketing. And usually they're all around one theme or one centralized kind of set, which I like introducing collections, especially as a DIY person. So it works really well for me. But we have door hanger, shelf sitter, kids kit, and 2 other, it just kind of depends on what else we throw in there. And sometimes there's more than that too. But so first Friday of the month, they get raw photos that they can use for marketing. If you're selling kits or something like that, those are great. Or even if you're using them as like a teaser to your customer base of just the wood pieces cut. And the files, by the second Friday, you get painted photos you can use for marketing. They're not recommended to use on Etsy. I don't police that. Etsy doesn't like mock-ups or not real photos of what you're offering. I don't police that though. That's on you. But you can use them for marketing, and then throughout the rest of the month we kind of talk about different stuff. Sometimes they get exclusive trainings. Like this month they got one on, or not, maybe I shouldn't use the word exclusive. They get trainings included with their membership. So like this month we talked about how to turn a file into a pop-out file, or you take a tiered trade piece to turn into a pop-out file, that sort of thing. We've done ones on macrame training for macrame ornament kits. We've done ones on selling kids kits, all the stuff that goes along with that. And so there's different options in there. So I'll show you the files they got this month just to give you an idea. So one of them, and then you also get 50% off any of our other files. The files that go into the club are exclusive for a year. You can't buy them outside of the club until the following year, which makes some people very grumpy sometimes, but that's okay. We got to take care of our members. So like this was the door hanger. Our theme for this month was like Christmas baking. And so this was the door hanger. It says probably baking Christmas cookies. It's got these like Christmas, like this was like cookie cutter type things. And then the bottom part of it has like iced cookie options down on the bottom. Sorry, I want to set that down and not crash into something. This was our shelf sitter for this month. It's a layered sign. It says gingerbread, and then our last little gingerbread guy here has already had his leg bitten off, so that was just cute and fun. This was our kids pop out. The first time I offered kids pop out kits, I didn't know what my members were going to think of it. I thought they were going to be like, what is this? Because I was always very specific to home decor. And they loved them, and then they continue to love them. So we've made it a regular part every month. There is a pop-out kit. But this was for our baking themed one. This one says, and it's set up to where this white piece cuts all together, so you don't have to glue little individual letters, which is great for kids. But it says baking memories, and then it has the lines put into it, and they're scored, not engraved. But these lines put into it, so it kind of has that like diamond pattern that an oven mitt would have. And then I thought it would be fun. Obviously, you don't have to do this. I thought it'd be fun to put handprints on them. So I had my son paint this one, and we put his handprints on him. So those are fun. Pop outs. We did the ornaments, which I showed you guys a little bit earlier. The original set was just I can find them all. They're here somewhere. All my cookies. I'm missing the tree. Oh, it's right here. Just kidding. This set of pop-out ornaments was the original set that came along with it. These are meant to look like iced cookies. That sort of thing. I mean, obviously you can paint them however you want, but these ones are, that was my idea behind it, was to make them look like iced cookies. And then I took it a step further and added, because sometimes when I'm in the middle of designing stuff, I'm like, oh, let's do this too. That's why I say you're promised 5 files, but sometimes it's more than that. But I talked about them a little bit earlier. There's a tiered tray set in there that's all baked good, like Christmas baking themed too. But I added ornament files to match each of the tiered tray pieces, just to show you a different way to use them. And that's what I used for the training as well. So like this is the tray piece, this is the ornament that coordinates with it. These guys, Baking Spirits Bright, and then the gingerbread cookie ornament version and tiered tray piece version. That's all. So trays, ornaments, shelf sitter, kids kit, door hanger. There we go. So that's what's in there for this month, along with that training. I see the question there. How much is your group? It is $20 a month. Let me see. Come back up here. I had a bunch of other clubs as a member of. Cancel them except for Gwen's. Well, thank you. We love to have you. My other files are all on Etsy. That's the only place I sell my files right now, other than our club files and what's in our free laser library. And we are on Etsy. I am still Girl with the Glowforge. So if you look that name up, Girl with the Glowforge, you'll find our Etsy stuff. And I can add, we just put my Etsy link on the list too. I remember to put Chris's Etsy link on there. I skipped my own. Oops. I need to go back and look for the training. Yeah, hop in it's on, if you go to the club website and you go to the menu and go to laser trainings, it's in there. How much is your group? It's $20. How do you join your group? That link is in the master link list too, but I can put the link in here later on. But if you go to createwithgwen.com, and it's GWYNN, I had to have a weird name, which is why sometimes I get marked as spam. But if you go to createwithgwen.com, there's a part that says learn about our SVG club. I believe it's in the drop-down menu. It's got information, all the details about our club, what you can do with the files, which my goal is for you to make money with them. So there's no extra special licensing or anything like that. It's here's the file, go make money with it, except for selling the file. You just can't sell the file itself. And that sort of thing. So that's all on there. And if we join now, will we have access to all the files already in the group? No, that is one thing we do. You get whatever month you join, you get that month's files and photos and all that sort of stuff beyond. The only part we don't restrict is the trainings, because the trainings aren't like a promised part of it. They're sort of like a fun bonus. And so I don't restrict access to the trainings based on what month you join. So any of the trainings that we've done, those are accessible, but the files and photos are set up from the month you join and then each month that you're a part of the club afterwards. So you don't get the past ones. You do have the option to purchase other files that we've had at 50% off, but the same rule applies. If it was a file that came out last month, it won't be considered public access until next year. So our June 24 files won't be accessible till June 25, at which point you can buy them 50% off as a club member, but you won't be able to buy them before that. And that's just one way to I don't know, kind of incentivize our current members. Let me see. Can you talk about the meetup? Yes. Give me just a second. Let me make sure there's no other club. Yes, club is still open until Friday for new members, and then we'll close it down from there for the rest of this month, and then we'll look at, I probably won't open again until October, which will be our four years. Yeah, because I started October 2020. It'll be our 4-year anniversary, so we'll open again in October. For new members. But yeah, you've got until Friday. I saw a question. I'll talk about Meetup real quick in just a second too. Do your files transfer easy to Lightburn? I have an OmTech. I use Lightburn. I design almost exclusively in Silhouette, but we use Lightburn to run our Thunder lasers, and I don't have a problem with it. I know some people have talked about resizing issues. I've never had that problem myself. So that one, I can't speak as to why the issue happens. I know it has something to do with DPI and all that sort of stuff, but I don't have that problem, and I don't have members who have that problem, at least not that they brought to me, I should say. So yes, they do that as well. Can we buy files at 50% off on Etsy? Yes, club members, that's where you would buy the files, is on Etsy. There's a coupon code that's inside the membership part of the website that it does change occasionally. And so that's where I always tell everybody, always check the website to get the right coupon code, but then you go to Etsy and you can buy them on there at 50% off. So yeah. Let me come back up here. Yep, Sherry's like, yep, I use Lightburn with an Omtech and they work just fine. That's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Meetup. Oh, Teresa joined today. Congratulations and welcome to the club. So we'll talk about Meetup real quick. In September, I've had this idea and I've been talking about it for I don't know how many years now. I have this thing where I will come up with an idea and I will think about it and stew about it for years and years and years, and then I will decide, okay, it's in 2 months, I'm going to do it now. But I have wanted to do some sort of in-person meetup type thing. I've had so many people say, I want to come visit your shop. I want to come visit you. And I always tell them, just don't do it when it's 1,000,000 degrees outside, and by all means come. And a couple of years ago, we had actually my friend Enderly from Illinois. These are all laser ladies too. Enderly from Illinois, Jasmine from Florida, and Carrie from Colorado all came to visit for a couple of days, and we had so much fun. And we talked lasers, we went out and ate tacos, and we did like Yuma stuff. We went and saw the border wall because it was, something to see, something I drive by all the time, but it was something different for someone else. We went to a cactus plant store, all that sort of stuff. But I think we had fun doing all the other activities too, but I think getting to sit down, and this is before I had a shop, we were just hanging out at my house the rest of the time, sitting down with other makers and talking about pain points and talking about, what are you doing that's working. I think I have like 4 pictures of us where we're all just sitting with our laptops out and like, oh, let me show you how to do this. Let me show you how to do that. Is so good for people who sometimes in maker world, they just feel kind of alone because your friend who works a normal 9 to 5 or even, a different style job just doesn't quite get the same stuff that we go through. And it's just different. And there's something about connecting with makers in person. These are people that I talked to for months online, years at that point, I guess I should say. But there's something different about sitting across from them at a table and hanging out and being able to, kind of no distractions really. The whole focus is on what's going on. And I love that. And I knew that I wanted to do that again. I do not want to, at least not right now, want to host a huge conference with tons of people. My ideal setting, and I know some of you guys, Angie was on here, and Angie's been at a meetup with me before. I love sitting around a room, a small group of people, and talking about all the things. And sometimes it ends up being talking about motherhood. Sometimes it ends up talking about being a wife and all the fun stuff that comes along with that. And then I always get asked the question, how do you work with your husband? But that's neither here nor there. Somebody asked me last night. It was Darla that asked me, so talk to her. Darla's one of our friends here in town. But anyway, so I knew I wanted to do something like that. And so I decided September is when we're going to do it. September 5th through the 8th, we are going to be here at my shop. We have seating for 24, but I'm only going to open the spots up to 20. And we have 9 seats left for it. And what it's going to be a Thursday through Sunday. Thursday will start in the evening. Friday and Saturday will be, I don't want to say intense days, but kind of our training intense days. And then Sunday will be wrap up and hanging out with people that you've made friends with for the last couple of days. Yeah, and she knows, and yes, we do talk. And if it's till 3 in the morning, it's till 3 in the morning, and you get up and you kick butt the next day too. But I wanted it to be kind of a combination thing. I want you to have something to go home that you've learned, you've planned, learned some painting techniques. So that's my goal. Is Friday is going to be here at the studio. It's going to be painting techniques, trying new things, maybe something outside of your comfort zone, or something you've just thought about. Like one of the things I love is patina paint, and it's something that I would have never bought myself had I not been in a place where I could use it with somebody else and go, wow, this stuff's cool. It was intimidating to me, especially to spend the money on it. So I want you guys to be able to try something different that you haven't done before, and get kind of that side of things going and be in a studio. If DIY is something you're interested in, let's talk about kits or some of the stuff you just want to see in person. So that's Friday. Saturday is going to be more business focused, where we're talking about like what are our plans for fourth quarter, which is almost here. So I know a lot of you guys will already have plans in place, but Friday will be putting something in place. I have 4 main areas that I want to talk about, and I want each person to go home with one of those 4 things to focus on something in their business, whether it be social media, whether it be trimming down their offerings to really focus on something. I've got some ideas, but that's my goal for Saturday. And Saturday's gonna be at our house. Jonathan's gonna cook, and that's always a good time. But so Saturday we'll be at my house talking about all things business related. And of course there'll be breaks. There'll be tons of socialization time. Thursday night's gonna be fun. Thursday night is more social night, get to know everybody, welcome everybody into town. We're gonna do some downtown stuff. We're gonna go to one of my favorite restaurants in downtown that is a hoot. We'll just call it that. And we're working to see if one of our favorite servers can be there that night because she's awesome. So yeah, that's the gist of the weekend. Sunday is going to be more wrap up, and I know people will need to be headed home to go to different things. And so that's kind of the idea. But my 2 main areas I wanted you to be able, well, 3, I guess, was making something new, getting to try new stuff, talking business with people who get it. But I also want some of it to be some R&R time before fourth quarter, where you're losing your marbles and, living off cough drops and coffee. Terrible combination, but the things that are barely keeping you going, I want to kind of do that pre-rev up / relax, and then go into fourth quarter really, really strong, because I know as soon as I come back from any kind of group meetup, I am fired up, I'm ready to go, and I want to do all the things. So I want to have that feeling going into fourth quarter. Yes. Hopefully that answers a lot of the questions. Linda says you won't regret joining the club. Kay says she's gonna join. Awesome. Stephanie says she used to work with her husband and loved it. Yeah, if that's something on your goal list, we could talk about that all day long. He looks real proud of that. But yeah, so Meetup is going to be its whole own thing. I can add, we put a Meetup link on there. I'll put the Meetup link on the master links for this, and then I'll post about it again. There is a post about it here in the group already. And there's a lot of details outlined in the listing for registration. Like I said, we still have 9 seats, but and I mean this genuinely, my concern is not on filling those seats. Because we're at 11 right now, 12 with me. If we are a group of 12, then we're a group of 12, and that's okay. That means that these 12 people are going to get to know each other really, really well. We're going to hang out. We're going to do all that stuff. And I don't want that to take away from people who aren't able to come, because I know it's not feasible for everybody to come. September is busy time for a lot of moms, for makers, the whole 9 yards. But I want to make sure that it's a good, everybody gets to know everybody, and everybody feels that if they had a question, it got answered. If everybody wants to feel out an idea with someone else who's been through the same struggles, that they have that opportunity. So that's really my goal with that. I know that was a lot, but I hope that kind of encompasses it. But that's what's been floating around my brain for the last several years. And then I started really thinking about it a couple months ago on pursuing it. But then there was a whole lodging issue that I didn't know how that was going to work. And I made my own roadblock until I realized that it wasn't a block at all. And we let that one go. And suddenly everything was fine. So, yeah. I feel like I've said a lot of words in the last hour and a half. But this video, I know some people are asking, this video is 100%, the wife says join. Send the wife to the retreat. Bring her on down. We'll take her. And then you get the whole weekend off. Or extra busy, one or the other. Depends on if you have little kids. Anyway, I'm going to hop off of here. If you have any ornament questions, this is available for replay. I'm going to update that master link. It'll probably be in a little bit, because I got to go pick up my little people and clean up all this Christmas stuff before our kids come back for camp tomorrow. But this video is available for replay. That master link is there for you. If you have more questions, I'm here to answer them. I try to pop in and answer questions as quickly as I can. The ones from all the ornament questions, I let those go. I just remembered now that I didn't go through those. Shame on Gwen. Let me look at these real quick. That was a question about inserts. I have all the posts that were up that had ornament questions available for them, so I'm going to run through them real quick, make sure I didn't miss anything, because I feel like we covered all the things. This one was about inserts. We covered those. There were questions about a display rack that's in some of my photos. Unfortunately, both of the displays that I got from weird places. One is from a website called Decor Steals, and theirs is an ever evolving, they'll have 10 items available at any time, and so it's one of those ones that's hard to get from. The other one we got from a wholesale company that's actually a home decor piece, but we used it as an ornament display. Display rack, ornament bar, we talked all about that. Somebody had asked if we paint the back of these ornaments. I don't at all, and I've never had a customer complain about them. Yes, replay is available. Replay, what time? Okay, that one's good. I just want to double check I didn't miss anybody. Favorite fonts. I will have to make a list for that one. Somebody had asked about favorite fonts for ornaments. I will work on a list. I don't know if I have an official one, but I'll take the ones that I have on there. Someone asked about the landmark ornaments. We talked about those. Pop-out kits, color wood beads, we talked about those. Biggest sellers are personalized, and for us, DIY kits, because that's a focus for us. Oh, you know what? I know somebody asked about, I'm just making sure I didn't miss any other ones. Most of the questions were about what time, because I'm a dorkfish and didn't explain what time. And then we had the whole time zone debacle. Okay. And then I got one more photo to double check. How do you post prices? We individually price. For ornament kits, we had just a sign that had the price point on them. For individual ornaments, well, we did them for both actually. All of our ornaments, we just have a single sign for. Because I I don't do super complicated ornaments. That's just my personal preference. So I make sure that my ornaments all can fit in the same price point, finished or kits. So I just have a general sign for all of them. Shrink wrap machine information, question about paints. Again, whether you want to offer paints or not offer paints is totally a personal preference. You can definitely forego those and say you just have a wood kit and, you know, make a Hobby Lobby run, pick your favorite paints. It's all on how you word and how you spin it. How many ornaments do you prepare ahead of time? I have no idea.
A lot.
He says a lot. Ahead of time, not a lot. In the middle of the busy season, that's when most of them get prepared. I'm trying to be better at that. MDF versus birch, we use primarily, actually we use maple now, but we did primarily birch previously. But if MDF is what you prefer to use and what you like in your kits, use what you know. We talked about packaging, Canva, all the pro things. Oh, there's a lot of questions about on how to use Canva as a whole. That's going to be its own little world. And then someone had asked about what ornaments would you recommend that can be engraved with names to personalize at a craft show? I don't do personalization on the spot at shows, so I don't have a recommendation for that one. Okay, let me come back because I saw some questions coming in. Okay, lots of info. With fourth quarter coming, I don't feel that I come now. We do another one during off season. The only hard part with that is our off season, or what most of the country's off season for stuff like summer is, it's really hot. And nobody likes to be here or visit when it's 112 degrees outside. That's what makes it tough. But I won't say never. Spring, maybe. We'll see. But someday I would love to. I'd love to be able to do 2 a year with kind of a different focus. And if it's the same people, it's the same people. And that's cool too. We get to hang out twice a year. And if it's new people each time, that's awesome as well. So I won't say yes or no on that one. Just that the weather I don't want to subject everybody to is part of my deciding factor. Kay wants to see how to use the shrink wrapper. She ordered one today. Awesome. The ornaments on those displays, cardstock is 5x7. Yep, we use 5x7 postcards. The picture that has the white background, we used to use a white background for ornament backers, and then we realized that we make a lot of ornaments that have white details on them, especially because we make a lot of them that are white, because I use that white eucalyptus board, so I decided to go with a black design instead, so it really popped and showed well. I know black is not generally a Christmas color, but I liked the way it looked. Made my ornaments pop, so yeah, all the same, 5x7. You are so welcome, Miss Lori. Can you post a link to the shrink wrapper? I have it in the master link posted above, and I did post it in this group today too with the Amazon Prime details. I know Facebook, after so many links posted somewhere, gets grumpy, so I've been careful to not post too many, but it is in the link that is linked in this video, and then there is one post previous to this that has the shrink wrap machine in it as well. Let me see. Just recently got an X Tool P2. Sorry, my things are moving fast. Okay, scroll solder. So this has been such an amazing journey for learning everything. This season will be your first official proper ornament season, and can't wait. It's the beginning of the live. Yeah, you can rewatch all the things and hear me ramble about so many fun ornament things. They do sell pre-filled pods on Amazon. I like being able to fill my own for my own. I think they end up being cheaper. We already have the paint here, but if you don't run a DIY studio and have gobs and gobs of paint, you can definitely look at pre-filled options as well. Yep, Debbie, the replay's here. You're ready to roll whenever you're ready. Just got a Boss laser, so this is all new. Oh yeah, you can pick up new tricks. We were crafters long before we had lasers. I actually, just before Jonathan and I had gotten to know each other, to even meet, I had closed my first storefront, and part of that was stuff that I made. At the time I was a Western jewelry maker, and then I got bored with that, and it just was not what I wanted it to be anymore, and the styles were changing, and so I kind of let it go. And by let it go, I just meant I stopped making them. I still have gobs of beads somewhere. They're currently lost, but they're somewhere. But we started in with making stuff. Jonathan, when we first started dating, made the mistake of saying he was good with handy with tools, and so I was like, could you build me this? Could you build this? Could you build that? And so we've been makers for a long time, but adding a laser is going to be a game changer for you, I promise you, especially because you're adding it to an existing business versus just starting a laser business on its own. You got this. You are so welcome, Miss Debbie. All right, guys, I'm going to hop off of here. I'm going to go pick up my babies, and then I will update that link, master link with all the links to all the things. And like I said, if you guys have more questions, when you do, I will pop in as much as I can to answer them. This week, we do have kids camp all week, so I've got kind of a weird schedule, but we'll be talking soon. I hope this kicks off your ornament season with all kinds of cool information in your brain to go turn around and make some Christmas money. Bye, guys.